Good morning, folks. Haven't been on a while, but another edition of the morning three sessions. So yeah, this one's going to be deep again. I've haven't been on a while because, well, to be honest, I've been enjoying the kids and been enjoying myself a bit more. But I just feel we all feel, and I'm sure the emotions and the stress in the air of the whole situation that the world's going under at the moment. But it's woke me up to realizing that the problem in this planet right now, in my opinion, is we've become so dependent on the science, so dependent on the data that we're actually forgetting how's it going, mate? What it's like to be a human being again. And this reliance on we can only do what we want to do based on what these experts are telling us is safe to do and not safe to do. It's dividing the community, it's dividing the world, it's dividing us all, and you're either pro or against. There's not allowed to be a middle ground anymore. And in my opinion, that's designed because if there's a middle ground, then that can allow us to have conversations, and that conversation can then lead to different change in people's opinions. And that isn't exactly what the people in charge want. They want us to be divided because division means it's easy to control. So it's easier for us to control people, or easier for them to control. And like when you think about it, the world functions on love. Whether you want to accept that or not, it's the reality. If we think about it, think back to being a child, think back to being a baby. You fail, cut your knee. Who do you want? You wanted your mummy. Why? Because your mummy gave you unconditional love. When you fail, you wanted a hug. She'd be there to give you a hug. Well, for most of us anyway. Josh is going. She'd be there to give us a hug. She'd be there to hold us and tell us, put us magic dust on our knees and tell us the cut's going to be okay. And that made us feel safe. And we've never moved on. But you've got to realize that in each and every one of us, that wee 4-year-old child who's got a cut name wants a mummy, they've never disappeared. We've always still there. But we're now in the bodies of a 35-year-old man or a 40-year-old woman or whatever. And society has taught us that we need to act in a certain way to be a functioning member of society. And in that society, love and acceptance and understanding doesn't really play a part, or not as big a part as the science and data, and that we must all listen to the science and data. And that's led to a world where we're fearing each other. And because we fear each other, we're scared to go near each other, and we're scared to actually, we're actually scared to be ourselves, and we're worried about what other people think. And this social media, like, I'm sharing this, what I'm talking about here now, it leaves me wide open for ridicule, it leaves me wide open for abuse. It leaves the door open for arrogant, ignorant assholes to come in and try to make themselves feel better by belittling what I'm saying because they don't have an understanding. And that is the world we live in, and we all live in this fear. And you know, like I said in the article here, like the scales have been tipped. We once lived 300 years ago. We lived in a world where science didn't really exist, and Jesus, God, and Muhammad, or whoever it was you believed in, ruled. And then slowly we came to a point, and now we're come to the point where it's now spirituality doesn't exist because science can't prove it. You know, we atheism. Now, by the way, I was a massive atheist until my ayahuasca experiences and the psychedelics I done. I was a massive atheist. Now I'm a spiritualist. Sorry, get my coffee here. But God, source, spirituality, what do you want to call it? It's been removed. And then slowly it's coming back in. And I think more people are awakening to this fact. And that's why we've got so many people going down the plant medicine route. Because I think inside our hearts, inside our souls, there's a lot of us realizing that this world of science, this world of being told the reasons why, it doesn't sit well with us. We know there's something more to life. And it's being eroded by this need for proof. And maybe the reality is we're not meant to know it all. And that's maybe the magic of the mystery of life. We're not meant to know it all. Now, listen, if you don't want to believe in God, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in like the God that like everyone talks about, the Jesus, the Muhammad. I don't believe in that. I just believe in source. I believe that if I'm going to be honest, I believe in reincarnation. I believe I've lived thousands of lives. That's my personal belief based upon my experiences. And this is something that I think is being lost. This need to feel right, this need to feel validated is taking over the human desire for us to just listen and accept other people's beliefs. And maybe if we were willing to, the saying, for 2 years, one knows, so we should listen to twice as often as we speak. If we were willing to do that and maybe take on board other people's opinions, other cultures' opinions, then we would maybe learn more about ourselves, but we don't, because we live in a world of social media driven arrogance where it's all about being validated. It's all about feeling that we're right. It's all about this need to be accepted in society, that it's actually conditioned us to the point where we're scared to speak our own truth, speak our own minds. And the reason why I believe this is because if I go back to my ayahuasca journey, so like 3 journeys every experience, I've had 2 trips to I've been down to the ayahuasca journey twice. That means that's 6 journeys altogether. Losing my track of thought here. So every time, like I said in most of my videos, but maybe you haven't heard this, you do the ayahuasca journey in this group, and then the next morning you all come together and we all share our experiences and we all talk about what we experienced under the ayahuasca, and that inevitably leads to us opening up to more deep, meaningful personal issues that experience. And I mean like massively, massively deep conversations. Some people were talking about sexual abuse from their parents, like just horrible, horrible, horrific things. But the beautiful thing was that there was like a group of 26 men and women of all varying ages, all varying life experiences. But in that room, in this place, this space that that I and I had held for us, we felt safe enough to open up to the deepest, darkest thoughts in our minds. And that opening up led to a different conversation and an understanding that we in society today just don't have. And it's that experience, it's this experience that I've had that's made me wake up. Danny, how's it going? Talking about our experiences here. That's led me to be willing to open up more and to speak my truth, speak my true mind and how I feel without the fear of being judged. Because like that, so 2 journeys, that's 46 people altogether. I've been around in these West experiences, and 46 people were able to open up and tell things that they have never told family members, best friends. And it made me realize that we are all fucked up. The world has fucked us up completely. This society we live in, the Western cultures that we live in, of the bravado and the I suppose like the man up culture. Though I do believe, I'm not going to go in there, but I do believe man up culture, we need more men to be men at the moment. But this belief that we shouldn't show our emotions, that we should be reserved and we should copy everyone else, it's led to a place where we can't actually speak about the things that are really holding us back in life. And it's just led to a world of mistrust, a world of fear, a world of where people don't feel safe enough to actually speak their truth and speak their mind. And this unresolved trauma, it spills out. You can see it in the world today. The hatred. Go on to Twitter. Jesus, it's a cesspool of anger and trauma, because people live in a world of fear, a manufactured world of fear, a place where we don't feel that we have a voice or we can be listened to unless we say exactly what it is that others want to say. So we find ourselves on Facebook, we find ourselves on social media, typing the things that we want to say, and create these echo chambers where we're just getting validation from other traumatized people with similar worldviews. And if someone has a different worldview, they're absolutely destroyed. But that shuts down conversation. That shuts down what it is to be a human. And then we fucking end up in a world like this. A world where where we're having to show fucking screens on computer or phones to get into a place. And if we don't, there's a section of the community cheering them on and celebrating this and calling people dangerous. And man, it's just insanity. Like, what is going on with this world that we've allowed ourselves to get to this point when the reality is it's so fucking simple to solve. Like, if we all went inside ourselves and we all looked at our own issues, our own fears, our own angers, our own, like, the source of the mistrust that we have in other people, other human beings, we would start seeing a lot of similarities. That was the one thing that I noticed about the integrations. When someone had the confidence to talk and people listened and they felt safe talking, when you actually listen to these people, you learned, I'm going to pour myself more coffee. You actually started to recognize similarities in that person's story to your own life experience. And that experience, how's it going, mate? Keep well, mate. But that being willing to open up and to actually verbalize how you truly felt led to other people having the confidence to open up themselves. Like the amount of times that I walked up to someone over those 6 journeys and the people walked up to me and thanked me for going absolutely crazy or for opening up about something that was really personal, because they give them the strength to open up themselves. And then when they opened up themselves, it released that trauma. Like when I done the Bufo, the trauma released, I just was fucking phenomenal. I felt light. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my chest. And so many other people felt the same. We're all carrying this childhood and decades of trauma that society has just placed upon us. So much trauma that we actually don't realize it is trauma. Because so many people experience similar things that we just almost accept it as that's how society is. But that's that's how society is, but because that is how we have made society to become. We've allowed society to become this way. We have become so reserved. Like, think about this: 18 months. How many people have avoided their families, avoided their friends, avoided hugs, avoided that heart? And listen, you can deny us all you want, but when you hug someone and you hold them, your heart to their heart, and you embrace them with true love, it releases like an emotion in your chemical. I'm sure there's chemical response that science can't explain, but all I know is that, like, for example, twice we have done this. Every time you go down, you do this ceremony. It's like this ceremony, the fire ceremony, where you divorce your parents. Bit deep. Not going to go into it, but just basically, it's you writing a letter to your mother or father who you maybe are married to subconsciously. You wouldn't understand unless you've been there, and you then burn it. But afterwards, the Roisin gives this meditation where you're actually divorcing a parent, and there's not a dry eye in the house. No one doesn't cry at it. It's so emotional. But afterwards, you go about and you make sure you give everyone a hug. Now, these are strangers. Well, they're not strangers. By this stage, you're in day 3, but they've walked into your life 3 days ago as complete strangers. And you hug these people like you would hug your mum, like you haven't seen her in 10 years. You genuinely hold it, and you can feel the love. You can feel the concern, the concern about everyone, like a shared experience. And that's what it means to be human, these shared experiences. And when you feel safe in this environment and you feel you can speak your mind without the judgment that's going to be attributed to what modern society would do to you, it leaves you relieved. It leaves you feeling like almost like weakness, years and years of like this built up trauma inside of you has just been released. And you actually feel like, whoa, and it's emotional. And I look around and I see so many people. I literally just see people's trauma now. It's mad. Like, whatever this experience done, I'm more in tune with people's energy, and I'm doing crazy things that I'm not going to talk about. But the people who know me, who know I'm talking about, know what I'm talking about here. I sense people's feelings now, and it's crazy. It's like I can sense something's going on. It's just like I don't see auras, by the way, or anything, but I do feel I do feel someone's energy a lot clearer now, and I can sort of sense when someone's down about something, and I'm able to almost pick up on what it is they're down about. And whether you believe me or not is irrelevant to me. To be honest, I know how I feel, and people are experiencing this in personal capacity because I'm able to do this. But it's like when that happens, and I start talking to people, and I'm able to bring them around to open up to what it is actually is wrong with them, and they get over this fear of judgment, and then they cry, or I hug them, and you can feel this sort of like their energy dissipate, and they get sort of like heavy on you, because whatever's weighing them down is sort of, it's been released, and it's like it's a heaviness been released on them, but it's emotional. It You can feel a connection, a human connection, and maybe it's because we haven't had it for 18 months now. I know it sounds like I'm waffling here, but it's a true feeling. And I think we've just we've been conditioned now. We've allowed ourselves to put these barriers up between each other. And that is why we're all going on social media, and we're all looking for the answer. We're all looking for people to make us to agree with our beliefs. And it forms these echo chambers. But the reality is, maybe your belief isn't totally correct. Maybe there's a level of it that is right, but you're being validated your thoughts by other people who think similar to you because they're equally traumatized. And if you're just looking for validation and not being challenged in your thoughts, well, then you're just putting yourself into this echo chamber, this echo bubble where you're never going to solve the true feelings. And the reality is, like, trauma's pain, and the experiences we had created pain. And the only way we're going to get over this pain is by embracing these fears, and understanding that pain is part of the healing process. And I see so many people, like, look at how we all follow football teams. Look how we all, go to a certain sport or whatever, because we want a sense of belonging. We want to believe. We want to feel somewhere. It's like if you went on holiday and you go to Spain and you meet someone from this country, you automatically gravitate towards that person because they've got shared experiences. But when you might get home, same person might be an asshole to you. You wouldn't see them on the street. You wouldn't really hang with them. But in that environment, you feel safe. It's a tribal feeling you've got. So some of these tribes we naturally like magnetite or magnetically connected to aren't great for us because they're trauma filled, and they're not offering you a place where you can actually truly open up. So I suppose what I'm trying to get at today is, like, when you find people, or you're presented with a place where you can truly be yourself and you can actually open up to the pain you're feeling, there's a massive sense of healing. And I think we live in a world where that is not happening anymore. And we're not allowed to express ourselves, or we feel like we're not allowed to express ourselves, from fear of being ridiculed, fear of being told we're wrong, fear of being told that these feelings that we have are not true. And that's dangerous. It leads to a place where we are now. And the answer is so simple. Like, I can tell you right now that if you went down to the retreat that I went to, and you had the confidence just to step up and say those first few words of what you feel, of how you truly feel, that when you realize that you're in an environment that you're not going to be judged the way you fear being judged, and that people will actually thank you for being so honest, it opens up the world. It opens up your eyes to the realization that the world we live in is just a fraudulent world. It The potential is massive. We have the ability to heal ourselves. We all have the ability to heal ourselves, and we get rid of this fear. And the other thing I would say is, why do we all fear death? Well, what has happened that we've suddenly lived in this world where death can't happen? But, like, we're all born to die. Every single one of us is born. Michaela, I'll send you a link, love. I'll send you a link when I finish this video. We're all born in the world to die. None of us are getting out of here alive. And none of us have a right to decide when we're going to die. We're not. That's not going to happen. We're going to die when we're designed to die. And like I said, this is my belief is like we live this life to experience something or to have some sort of lesson, and then we die and we'll be reborn again. And if we don't experience the lesson we're meant to live in this life, then we're destined to repeat this life until we actually learn it. And when I say repeat this life, I mean we're going to come back with the same traumas, the same sort of feelings. I believe in ancestral trauma now. I believe all this stuff. I've seen it happen. But unless we're willing to actually open our eyes and experience it as what we're here to experience, and then embrace death, understanding that it's what's meant to happen. It's a cycle of life. How can we actually live? How many of us have lived over the last 18 months, truly? Think about what we've done. We've willingly avoided our parents. We've willingly separated our society. We're fighting against each other. We're fearing hugging each other. We don't want to, we're scared to walk past someone in the shop if they don't have a mask on. Or we panic to get a mask on if we're walking to the shop because we're scared of the judgment of others. That's not living. That's existing. We're literally being told what we have to do, and if we don't do this, we're not good people in society. Therefore, we're bad. That's madness. That is absolute madness. We're here for a very short time, in my opinion, a specific reason, and we're being denied that opportunity. Or we're maybe denying ourselves that opportunity because it's our choice to whether we follow these rules or not. I haven't, and I refuse to because I want to live my life the way I want to live it. But we live like the data. It's just data, science, the science of science. The science doesn't understand everything, and science is always changing. What science was 6 months ago the science today was a conspiracy theory 6 months ago. But that's 6 months wasted. And that's 18 months of our lives we've literally wasted trying to stop something that's never going to be stopped. And we're literally putting our lives on hold. And we're the damage we're doing to the young children coming through now is insane. And people don't want to admit this. We're living in a world where adults are choosing to inflict their fears and their pain onto the younger generation and force the younger generation to get vaccines and shit that they don't really need, all because the science is telling us. But yet there's one side of science is being ignored. And the reality is when this fight's happening, none of us are truly living. None of us are doing what it is humans are meant to do. We're meant to love each other. We're meant to embrace each other. We're meant to be communal creatures that support each other. That's being slowly eroded. And we're finding ourselves in our own wee bubbles. And we wonder why there's so much trauma. We wonder why suicide's on the increase. We wonder why depression's on the increase. It's because we live in a world of fear. And we don't have to do that. It saddens me. It's really breaking me to see so many people willing to just ruin their lives and just not live anymore because we're told this narrative over and over again. Anyway, I'm waffling. I'm going to stop because it's getting me down talking about this. So, yeah, listen, this world of fear doesn't have to be that way. We have to respect each other 100%. We have to understand that there are vulnerable in this society that need protection. But there are others that don't. And for most of us, we could live with this virus. And we can accept that some of us are going to die from this virus, as has happened every generation, every year for how many years? How many people have died of the flu every year? How many people die of the cold every year? How many people die of pneumonia every year? How many people die of cancer every year? How many people die of car accidents every year? Falls, murders. Death is part of life. But what shouldn't be part of life is fear and death and existing in a world instead of living. So yeah, folks, it's something to really think about. Look at your neighbour. Look at your friends. Give them a hug. Let them know they're loved. Let them know that they're not mad, that just because they have a different opinion of you doesn't mean they're dicks, doesn't mean they should be orchestrated for it. Well, if we can solve that, we can solve the problems of this universe, or this planet, this universe, this planet. So anyway, I'm away. Good luck, folks.